packing very soon, but go ahead and share the likes while I try to get something going at me and technology. And today, actually, if you want to join us in the program, I actually think I don't know how to do this. Hello, Fatmata, welcome to the program. Welcome. So like I was saying, I've actually found a way for my for add people into the program. Should in case somebody want for can give in your own 2 cents on what we talk about, or maybe even have a question you want for ask me. I found a way to add these people. I found a way to add you guys. Yes, Regina, finally you get to ask you question, because the last time we were on live, I not be able to fix the technology, but the technology is fixed now, and we're going to do it. And if you have any question in the meantime while I'm doing the live, please you can either write them down or let me know in the comment section and say, okay, Esther, I would like to pose a question, or this question or so far. But while we're doing that, I want to say a big thank you to everyone that has been following this page, because in just a few weeks time we are at 12,000 followers, and I think it was around 11,000 unique likes. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Means people really well, let's just say it means that you guys have accepted the message and you want to hear more from me. So I would encourage everybody for continue for invite friends and family, people that you know in the business. Hello, Marcos. People that you know in the business, people you know where gets connection to tourism, people that would like to know much about more about tourism. Welcome them so they could be part of this family. We really try to create this family of tourism, people within the tourism, for learn more about this sector. But as the time they roll, and today I really no one for take much of our time because we have so much doing. I am just going to jump at it and start talking about the topic of the day. And yeah, please guys, let me know so when I did in the live, let me just get some like, and then I'll just throw myself into this topic, because today I'll be talking about rural tourism, this UNWTO best tourism village competition, and then answering some questions. Them I get 3 unique questions. Them 2 of them were kind of a little bit connected, but the third one I feel like it's also part of the bigger conversation where we talk about in tourism. Now, for this competition, like I mentioned to Una in the last, I think it was 3 days ago when I make 3 or 4 days ago, I make a video that the UNWTO, which is the United Nations World Tourism Organization, this is a body within the grander UN organization where they deal with solely tourism related issues. They are in charge for regulates the issue of tourism from the UN level. Now, very important for we were there within tourism for understand, say there are 2 UN bodies and when it comes to tourism what we need for focus on. This is in case you want to look for a career within the UN and you don't study tourism, or you think about study tourism, you think like, oh, how am I going to fit within the UN? Now, the UNWTO, which I just mentioned within the name World Tourism Organization, under the UN, they deal with tourism development, sustainability, the economy, and all the things. Then that's that side. Hello, crime. Hello. Feels a little bit off to say crime, but hey, crime dogs. But as I was saying, and that's UNWTO. But then we do have the UNESCO. UNESCO is actually one of my favorites of the 2, and it would sound weird for me to say favorite, but it's because UNESCO deals with the World Heritage designation. Now I don't know how how familiar you guys are with the term World Heritage Site. A World Heritage Site now a designation, like a award or some sort where then they give you because of you get a part of history or culture now your country or your destination were so important to the rest of the world. So then they put a special protection on the ram, and you they get this designation, and through this designation a lot of people they able for um through that designation first of all they attract tourists them to you, you they preserve that history day or that cultural heritage day, but also it's such a driver towards having a sustainable tourism destination. So UNESCO is actually my personal favorite because if we look Salon, we get so much to offer. Funny enough, Salon, we get, I think, up to 20 sites there within the tentative list. Now, remember, this tentative list will not reach it at the main list because basically we do, well, might just calm down, Esther. But basically, we have officials and we not take this whole tourism something, this whole heritage issue serious, because if you take it serious, we'll not go down there tentative list for God knows how many years now. So those are the two main bodies and within UN where I want for me will now understand say then they, and then two main bodies they offer jobs, and two main bodies that they get different type of program there and competitions there where they can do, where one part and now one can talk about today. And the one where I can talk about is this best tourism village. Una sorry because I'm looking at my computer and at the same time they talk to Una. But the UNWTO has, hello Peggy, how are you doing? The UNWTO don't do an open call for the best tourism village. Now this is a competition or like a program of some sort where they don't start since 2021. So now a fairly new program, and the reason, well, the initiative behind this now for promote rural tourism, for help them villages that we don't depopulate, for made and get some form of economic activity going, but also for preserve, because most of the time now in them villages there we get the culture, now in them villages there we get we traditions them. But I get for go a little bit into that in the context of Salon. But this competition, like I said, it's an open call, but at the same time it's a bit restricted because the only people who can do a submission for this open call not the government. Because for me you submit a village, and in a moment I will explain which kind of village you can able for submit. You need for go through a member state, which fortunately Sierra Leone is where member states in this UNWTO, so we can able for submit, but you need for go through, let me scroll down here for my giving the right information. You need for go through the National Tourism Administration, which in this case is the Ministry of Tourism. So you get for go through, then take your village in your village information, you go through the ministry, and the ministry they do a formal I would say application to this competition. Now it's a little bit too late for we right now, for anybody we would think of this for being an opportunity, because the deadline at the 23rd of this month. The 23rd of this month. However, the reason why they talk about this right now is because maybe you come up from a village with rich culture, or maybe you come up from a village where you feel like, okay, tourism can help with people. And this is the reason why I can't talk about this today. I can't talk about how can you prepare yourself for next year when this they can happen back again, how you go able to be part of this. Now, the information where they out there for this is very, very condensed. That it's not much to go for. It's not much to work with. But with the information where I want for can talk a little bit about it and add my own knowledge to it, which is the knowledge of. I think I'm getting a request here. Oh, we have Peggy where they request for join we. I'm gonna join you, Peggy, in a moment. May I just offload this whole competition? And this is an area where I believe, say, in one of my comments, in one of my write up, that you made a comment about, which was agri-tourism, and I'm gonna touch in that in a moment. I tell you, like, guys, I don't learn the technology today. I've learned it. So here we go. So like I was saying, the information, all the information what you need for register is with the ministry. The ministry and they forgive you this information. However, there are 3 pillars then with this competition based on. And one of the pillars then are for recognize, and I'm reading straight from their website. May people not think I'm just making this up. And if you need any information about this, I can actually help provide that. But basically, it's to recognize outstanding examples of rural tourism destinations with culture and natural assets. Now, this just it's a whole lot of text, but just to condense things, them this now for basically from like how they say for preserve, because most of the time villages are the sitting that the powerhouse for most cultures then. And Salon we don't see say a lot of things what they call culture we don't left in a village. All man don't urbanize, we don't kind of the big town, everybody don't civilize, we don't forget about our culture. So one of the reasons they want to make the UN the focus on this now for help for recognize them people there where they help for we village go apply next year. Yes, crime dogs, that's the spirit. That's what I want for Yeri right now. And when I need help, when I call on me, because this is something where they're really close to my heart. But for recognize the people, and one of the reasons why I make you and they do this and for recognize the people and we don't already work with them villages them. We don't preserve, we don't do different type of developments and for preserve the culture and the natural assets them in them village. The second is to then get this thing what they call upgrade program. Now this second pillar now something when me say they try for understand, and I believe say once you show interest and will give you more information. But this program is basically where you own village, they go into a grander I would say a grander network of people them when you they get coaching from the one that will know everything, the UN. So they coach you, then help you for make you village go be more visible and go grow more and go develop more. But if you first don't pass the first threshold, which is for me they accept you. May they accept you. For don't they do certain work them in the background, which I can't tell you now in a moment, waiting at them things that way you need for do. Now the third and final one, now a network. This they provide you a network. The first one are for recognize the one that will do the good job. The second one are for give them the support where they need. And the third one are for open them to a grander network. Now imagine, I'm just gonna give you now some statistics. From where this thing starts 2021, over 70 villages them around from almost 40 countries them around the world don't join this. So imagine being part of this. Imagine if one village self na salon, and they can't tell you now how many villages you can submit pan, you can make pan submission. But imagine if just one village na salon be part of this. You are in this grander network. Getting information, getting tips, getting access to some form of funding or different kind of projects and programs then. So I would say this is a very unique opportunity where I believe say we Sierra Leoneans and we need for begin the season kind of opportunities there. Like I said, as a member state, you can only apply if you're a member state and are through the tourism ministry. And the tourism ministry can actually make up to 8 applications. That means they can make up to 8 villages from Salon apply for this. Now tell me, how, just from the top of my head, right? If I think about an area in a Salon where I can mostly day around, which is the western part of Salon, like not dead west. I'm talking about western and Freetown. Villages like Gloucester, York Village. You know how many history? not too long ago, I think it was 2 years ago, I did a project which was called Discover Salon. At some point, I can't tell you what that project was about. But one of the places that we work with was York Village. I was shocked to find out that the village, it gets so much history, so much to offer in terms of tourism, to a point where I did think, say, why are we not even accessing this? Why are we not tapping into this? But York Village just didn't know as that one thing at the background. Gloucester. To me understanding, that's where in most of them vegetables are where they see. When you reach that, first of all, if you go up Gloucester, where they see first the different garden, they wouldn't go in the plants. That is the perfect setting for this kind of competition. Why are we not submitting that? So this is a way for kind of inspire we, for motivate we. If you're part of them communities there, yeah, this is just two of many villages them around Salon. At one time they watch a video them, they show a village of people where they make this palmine. Imagine that is a craft wherein we need for preserve that process there. And imagine if we build a whole tourist attraction around that process there. And say next year we'll move for present and part this kind of competition. Imagine. Anyway, I'm just gonna keep my excitement to myself and just say this is the competition. Now, UN Believe say this can make a real difference for them communities they are. And then Believe say this go deliver jobs. And I get to talk about this in a moment, why this is so important for Salon right now. We need jobs in Salon. That I'm not going to lie. We need jobs, but maybe we're looking in the wrong places then for provide jobs. And this kind of initiative could be one where we provide jobs then for even the one that we're not good at kind of high schooling, because sometimes job is not about having all this kind of big education. This now one of the tools that will make us love tourism, because one of the ways the way tourism they catch even the one they would at the last bottom of the society for bring them up. That farmer within na village we don't know much about how for turn 2 to 1 in what you know for plants no more. Imagine this they create for and job we go be supporting whole family. But I also believe that this is a way for support businesses them. Now I'm not too familiar with how much businesses and they run in the villages them, other than where people can go plants or they make them small crafts them, then get it and they sell them. But imagine if we could able boost that entrepreneurship, that entrepreneurship. Oof, I'm trying to get the words. Imagine if we could able boost the entrepreneurship and spirit within them villages they are through them kind of thing there, get people in for start small business. Because if the one that not self even see things and they happen at the village, they want to come there and not. But the most important thing, what I believe say this is something where me personally think that the most important of all in three there is preserving, celebrating and preserving with culture and with traditions them and with natural assets. Because most of the time with the toxic salon get culture, we do have culture, it's just that we're not looking into it. And this is a way for incentivize we protecting and preserving with culture, with natural environment, and helping with people then with people in the villages. And so this is very important. And I just want to say this right here before I jump into talk a little bit about what rural tourism is. For say, this is something where they're very close to my heart. So if you get a village, you get an idea of a village, or about a village where really they do something we're really good, but it's not getting that kind of recognition, reach out to me. I really want to jump and fling myself in by any kind form of I would say projects where they push this form of tourism, because I feel like we need for push the focus a little bit from this beach and come back to what really matters to be, right? I'm of the believing say beach tourism need to help with economy at all, and I will tell you that in one of my videos then very soon. What I believe say beach tourism, as much as it look good on picture, but is not helping in terms of money, in terms of creating jobs. It's not helping much. So that's it about the competition. You want to know much about it, I go advise you for go to their website www.unwto.org. O-R-G, and search for best tourism villages 2023, because if you go just put best tourism villages, you get from last year and so on. But go and read and I will say go read and educate yourself about it, and don't put pressure by the tourism ministry. Go there, ask them, make them provide the information, because this is something we didn't get. Then get all the criteria that is needed, because I can only tell you what's in at the site. Then King will tell you into details waiting you need. But now me they can't tell you now waiting I think say we need. Yeah, Peggy for that is so true. This is very important. There, nice beach everywhere. Exactly, the unique stuff. Because when we talk about beach, when I don't watch Zanzibar, when I don't watch she sells, you watch them places and you compare them to salons. And then one ticket where you pay for going to salon, a whole holiday na inside there. Then inside there, they don't perfect, they don't package themselves well. So for us, we look like clowns when we go and talk about, say, oh, the beach, this. The beach, for me, if I were controlling tourism, might say if I was a destination developer for salon, I go only use beach as a way for attract people. But that is not the main cause. That's like, let's say beach, if you think in terms of food, na the appetizer. It's not the main cause. People go camp for the beach, but people no go lay down a beach all day. They want to experience other things then. And this is why I think say rural tourism, they come in space. So now I'm just going to jump in. I just say pull my notes then for talk about rural tourism, why we need an asylum. Now, in the context of Sierra Leone, let's think of this, right? One of the problems we suffer with right now, especially in the urban area, or I want to say the urban cities, but I'm talking Freetown is specific, is an unbalance when it comes to population. When I mean unbalance, when I mean unbalance in population, I'm talking about we get a very, very high population in Freetown, where the resources of Freetown not able to provide for all them people there. And this, it gets so many issues and what it cause. But just to name a few, environmental issues then. We see waiting they happen at Salon, where rain come. You know, it is sorry for we country. It is sorry for Salon, we capital city, we pride. We dey sorry for all the see what rain they do. What we they go into slum areas then at Freetown? You they ask it, is this me country? Is this the country where I can so proud of? Because we get so many people that we don't flood in since after the war. We don't flood into the capital. Now the capital just the manage. But it's like in that brink of, everything will just explode one day. It's too much on the capital. And like I said, one of the reasons for this is the war, after the aftermath of the war, people move kind of the capital. But it's also because people in the look for job. So now we find out, say, the villages are empty. Everybody don't come a big town. Everybody don't come a Freetown for can find a livelihood. And some of them people there, not that they don't want to go back, but then go back, there's nothing left for them in the village because there's no way for them for support their livelihood. When they go then at go get one or two businesses that what then they do because that's where the masses is. But if they go in a village, how they get for good do? Pass and go back in farming. And we know now the Shwen and youths of today and Salomon in general, we not think for say farming is anything where you for bluff with. But honestly, that's something I will talk about whenever I get for talk about agriculture. Farming is one of the fastest way for actually make money. Now, farming is making millionaires out of people, and not so millionaires in euros, I'm talking in dollars. But that is one of the problems that we face in Salon. This depopulation of we villages there because people and they seek greener pastures in the main cities there, thereby causing I write down the word rural decay, but it's not really a decay in that sense, but with the loss so much. With the loss with culture, with the loss some of with heritage, but also the land space, because now we don't begin to see people in the can buy vast parts them of the villages there, especially in villages where they near big town there. So then they become so urbanized that we don't know the difference between village and the big city. And this is actually a problem we don't see in Freetown. But it's actually also probably what they see in other areas them of Sierra Leone. And this is something we need for look towards and address her and find a solution. And the solution, in my opinion, is rural tourism. Now, rural tourism in simply words is the simple life. The simple life. If you look, when you think about the village, what is the one thing where you did notice about village life? It's so simple. Back to basics. The hassle of the modern day life is not in the village. I know some people in a salon would think, say, oh, why is this even a bother, or why for even think about this? Not to all my leg for living inside big town. Not to all my leg then I go say then concrete wall there. Not to all my leg the noise of motor pass here and there. Not to all my leg this I go say breathing in the waste them of breathing in the waste them of motor car exhaust pump and all, and say not to all my like that. You say people hello Patrick, hello. Say people they actually prefer that simple life na the villages then, because it gives them that quietness, that cleanliness. That's why people say toilets in a village and clean past the one in a big town. Now, this is what rural tourism is about. Living life in a slow pace, you slow down where you can have village life. Living life around nature, living life around culture, very simple. Very simple, but that is what rural village is about. And the thing about rural tourism is that you can apply onto village, but you can also apply onto, let's say, for example, a nature reservoir. Let's say the preserving the nature of some sort is also part of rural tourism. But today I want to focus on the village aspect of it. I'm just going to open my notes. The village aspect of hello Eddie Grant, if it's that Eddie Grant. Anyway, guys, I'm just going to focus on the village side of it. In Sierra Leone, like I said, the depopulation, people don't move from the village. Now we do not have much going in the village. We have people that are dying off when I then get the culture within the village, thereby with the lost culture. So we need to go back to it. Going back to the village and introducing this form of tourism mean that we have to actually, hello Mankapu Tutu, how are you doing? Like I said, we're going back to the villages them, and we help them for boost the economy, thereby returning back the population. Because as soon as people begin to see something that happen at the village, then they come by one looking at what is unique about this village and start for preserving, right? Looking at how can we start for put some one or two things in together, packaging together for me tourists and one for Canada this place. And I'm gonna tell you that in a moment, right? How we can do that. But if you're interested for work, reach out to me. But basically, how we able to get people there for come back? Because to be honest, like I said, not to everybody they enjoy the hassle of this, this big city life. For me personally, I like for the inner city because I'm afraid snakes, so I know people like for that bush. But you have people that are actually into that type of tourism than they. And one of those kind of people or those markets where I go say, because the product here, I just want to put this in technical terms. The product here is having that simple life, enjoying culture, enjoying nature, food, just being in that slow pace. That is the product. Now you go for find the right market for this, and the right market for it on the top of my head. And one of the things that why actually sit down they think about, and I don't. This is something I did give a context for more to know how much this is missing in Sierra Leone, right? Some of the people that where they miss this the most is actually diasporans them. The diaspora, so we would live in the diaspora, we they miss this perfect image of Africa. I'm saying this is because when you think about Africa, even the white folks, you ask them about Africa, and then they think about all this urbanized, all waiting with the seaside on a beach and all them things, and they fancy hotel. No, they have lots of that over here. When they go back na Africa, go back na Salon and they visit them places there. Now for me, they're able to go see Africa in a natural setting. And this is this village setting. So there we have a perfect, I would say, target group, a market weighing. If you're into village tourism, you for look towards. Personally, there was 2021, I go salon. I'll be so one for experience that village life. That a friend of mine invited me for go lunge, but unfortunately when I go there, it wasn't what I was expecting. Not to I get there. So I would say, imagine, right? Say over 90% of the one way they go salon, the tourists who they say they go salon right now are diasporans. That we they go. So imagine if you have a product where they speak directly to them. Imagine. So imagine every December, if we get 1 or 2, 3 villages around salon where they organize different type of activities for attract people, right? The one that way gets the one that way gets the connected connection to, you know, the heritage and culture. With the year reading people and they go back home and go say, oh, I just come on at my village, or I just come on visit my village. But for the majority of we stuck in Freetown because of we left the country we young. Maybe we parents and not get that kind of connection to a village. And overall, there is this fear of, oh, I don't want to go to a village because which man then did or whatever. That is BS, I go say, because at the end of the day, this is a way for kind of like separate we from culture. But I don't want for going to I don't want to go deep into controversies or anything like that. And you might just avoid that topic there. But separation of for separate we from we heritage, we culture is something, it's a propaganda we don't see. So by demonizing the village or making the village look dark and say, oh, do not go to the, hello Joshua, how are you doing? By saying, oh, the village people and just talking like that, oh, you village people and they at work, it make people and do not want to see that. No one forgot that, but we don't care with man country, we know better. These are options that we look at because we want to connect to we culture. We want to connect to we traditions and we want to know we traditions then because we know better. Would they enjoy with man they own now? Why would not go back na salon go enjoy we own? So this is one of the benefits there or the reasons there or the markets that for they even look at when it comes to village tourism or rural tourism. Now a lot of people go say, okay, Esther, this is a really great idea. How do we start? There's so much to be done. There's this problem. Salon, I will say Sierra Leone, we're very good at identifying problem. Let me just say that for a minute, yeah? We're very good for identify problem, but I believe say as good as we are to identify problems, then we need for identify solutions. Then now I just point down 3 things then where you need, and like I said, I'm just touching on top of this. I don't say touch no more, not to go into details. You want to know more about this, reach out to me if you get a project where, you know, interesting enough, I want to be on top of, well, I want to join you guys for work on that. But some of the things that you need for this form of tourism, you need basic infrastructures then, right? Then there's I put out a video talking about infrastructures and people, you know, give a really good response to it. And some of the questions that will come as actually some of the questions I get for answer in a moment. But basic infrastructures then for this kind of tourism, I want to take it from the 3 A's in tourism. And the 3 A's in tourism is accessibility, accommodation, and attraction. On the accessibility, people are need for able for see how they will take themselves into this village and need for able for access the village, for enter the village. And most people are going to say, oh, we village road, then they're so bad, they're so this and so that. But one thing I've noticed about rural tourism or tourism in general, that is actually the appeal. Sometimes that's the appeal what people and they get for made them able for, you know, for me them feel like, okay, this is very remote. This is something, you know, I need for checkout. So being a little bit hard to access and you thinking that's a problem, that's actually the appeal. Hello Aisha, welcome to the live. But like I was saying, that is the appeal, that hard for be accessible. Now that's just one of the things, accessibility. People are able for enter the place, but accessibility also in an intangible way, because some villages and then a salon when they get some kind society. I don't want to say bad because there's nothing bad, but then get some kind of society where will make it really a bit hard for people for welcome outsiders and because they get the you know, I would say traditions, then get a society then. But in this case, this is when you were there in control of this. You will go on, why not say in control? You will go on introduce this form of tourism, go talk to them, make them know the difference of what you can show to a stranger and what you go keep back, the benefits of it. And in a way, time for walk away, we will not be able for allow strangers and for come inside without affecting their own traditions them and cultures them. But like I said, you want to know more about this, reach out to me and I will help you. Now the second part of it is accommodation. One of the problems and we are highlighting one of my videos then is how much we lack accommodation once you leave Freetown. And this is actually something we will be of I'm smiling saying this because this is something where I don't push for different people and where I don't work with, where I don't consult with different people I don't talk to. I push this idea of glamping. Now you do not need 5-star hotel at that village. It totally crash the concept of rural tourism. You need for many places they in a natural state. In villages, and we define hot them, right? We get them hot, they host there with palm, and then palm straw roof. Look at me, the part about to Batanaya. But you understand what I mean. What talk about village, you know they can also I mean, right? Them mud houses they are. So those are very simple and cheap for build. No snakes. No snakes. Me personally, I'm afraid snakes. So you get for walk away the snakes there. But in tourism, you can't think about any things there. This is the thing. Let not let fear hold us back. But imagine, you know, you could with very minimal investments, you can build them huts there. But you can also build camping sites, glamping. Like I say, when I check out that word, glamping. It's basically you build a camping tent of some sort and put some really basic but something where they elevate that camping day, like a bed or something. You go put lights them around. You know, I will post pictures them today or tomorrow. I will find 1 or 2 pictures I will post and see how a glamping sites they look like. But check that out. But when it comes to accommodation, this is one of the ways that we can able for where people are able for provide accommodations in the village. When I can also talk to the locals, maybe the locals then get ways. Then there must be a village in Salwa believes then will get unique ways then for build, where that can even be the attraction for go living at their sites and with very like I say very minimal approach to things and investments, we can able for bring them places, uplift them for when they go be comfortable for tourism. But the main important thing, which is the third area I want to talk about, is the attraction. And the attraction is what will make people want to go there. Attraction can be, like how they talk about York Village, right? It could be the history. Like York, now history mostly hold York. If I'm going to work with York in attraction, it could be the history, it could be the natural environments, the surroundings. Some villages and the way you go, it's just so quiet all year in about. It could be the farming, the way they farm at them villages there. It could also be the traditions, and this is the sweet part or the sweet part of this whole thing, because you have villages and we get traditions and we don't see that in the urban cities, right? You get midnight moon dances. How many of we don't come salon don't know about that midnight moon dance and then things then they you get drummers then. You get different type of traditions the way they happen in a village. They get their own festival. They get their own set of enjoyments there where you can tap into as attraction for attract people and for come in. But it's also local craftsmanship. Like they talk about a village where I see in the video not too long ago where this village then a palmine and they make. How many of those villages they will not get around salon? Or maybe a village where in then this man pama. Exactly, crime dog storytelling. We get villages the way we get all elder people and go sit down under one nice cotton tree, go and get all the picking and get everybody. They tell story. Imagine these are things and people and what experience. Somebody like me, I would pay me add-on cash for go experience something like this, right? So imagine how many other people are out there who going to experience the same thing. So these are the 3 A's where you get for need. But when you don't, let's say those are the basics, right? The infrastructure what we need. We need for package and well. And this is when you will go think for go implement this in your village or the set of people or organization they think for going to implement this is where you come in. For sort out what is important and what is not important, and how to make this experience as authentic as possible, because you don't want to stage it so much, but at the same time you don't want to present the rawness of the matter. Tourism is finding that sweet spot of, okay, we're not going to show you everything, but we'll show you something. So this is where the packaging comes. Finding out the right words, the appeal, designing the product. And this is something I do, like I said. So if you get interested in this, just reach out. I would love to give you some pointers. You package them well, and you put them in terms of tourist package, experience package, whatever you want to call it. You put on that side there. And once you don't package and done, then you comes to marketing. Then you think about, how am I going to market this for me reach the people I'm out there? And like I said, I'm against marketing if you don't do your homework. But in this case, like I give the 2 steps and before, you could don't do your homework. When you don't package and done this package, you send it to travel agencies, you put them online, you create, and in the packaging stage, that's where you create like a DMO of some sort. A small organization of people where they manage this attraction or this village, the tourism activities them around this village. So you have these people, then they package everything and send them to then agents there. So when then agents there get a booking, and go just call you, say, hey, so and so possible, we get a booking of this possible, one can see this village bien Lokomasama. I'm just giving names there right now. We get so in person. That's in the you did it for receive them. But the most important thing we know, we don't forget the locals in this process. That's why it's important for one, first of all, sensitize them on what tourism is about, how tourism they benefit them, and then get them in the process. Let them be one of the stakeholders in making this happen, because without them, you're just encroaching in somebody in privacy. And trust me, some villages or man not say villages, and some people just don't like that we they encroach in the site without involving them. And as I be explained earlier, the pillar of this is to preserve. One of the reasons why made them they do this now, for recognize but also for preserve. One of the pillars of rural tourism is to preserve. And how do you do preserving best? And forget the locals and with you. Create jobs. Talk to them about how this they create jobs for them, how this they help their livelihood. So me family, this is a little bit about rural tourism. I can go ahead, I can talk all day about rural tourism. Because there's so much to talk about and I can't cover everything, but these are the main things that what you need to know. Now, I want to really answer three quick questions then before I can begin allow people for join me. So if you be there in the line for join me ready, I can't allow one soon. And if you get questions, then send them to me. But the first question I get Naya. This question says, what strategies do we need to improve tourism in Sierra Leone? And the accounts where this question come from, I'm going to pull up the accounts in a moment. Now, yeah, for many people, know, the account is called Interconnecting Sierra Leoneans. So Interconnecting Sierra Leoneans, this is your question. Actually, 2 of the 3 questions then come up from this account. One is, what are the strategies we need to improve tourism in Sierra Leone? The second from this account is say, what can we do to improve tourism? One would think is the same question, but it's different, right? Now, for improve tourism in Sierra Leone, now, that's the answer to the first question. We need to implement strategies. We need to be very strategic what we think about how to improve with tourism. First of all, we need for, like I be saying in the last video, we need to understand what are the resources we get. How do we best manage the resources there for able for create the kind of for able for attract the kind of tourists and what we need for attract. There are different forms of tourism. Then there's I ask the question, is mass tourism ideal for Salone? A lot of answers then come through. We need for be strategic in what type of tourism we need. And I cannot come, I'm not going to and say that this type of tourism, that this and this, because you from outside you go see a resource, but you do not know how much of that resource you get access to. I do not know what in the government go want or whatever the case might be. But if I can give me guess, we need for the strategies that we need for employ. or the strategies that what we need for more push the tourism before. One, we get for think product development, restructuring. Before we go by product development, we'll go by structuring with tourism industry or with tourism sector. I talk about this in my very first video, because the question then, when they slap me with the question, is like, what you go do in the first how many days? But we need for structure with self. You're not going to do anything if you don't organize yourself, you don't put yourself together. So when we don't put ourselves together, then we move to strategy number 2. We work on with product. If we don't work on with products, anything what we do, marketing or anything, is a mistake. So I would say, when we stretch then 2 strategies there, or then 2 goals there, we stretch them, get different strategies them under, and make things then push forward. But go look at that video where I put, may you see what are the suggestions and way I give for make we able for structure with tourism. Now, when it comes to developing the products, something which I just talk about this rural tourism, talk about how do we develop it, what it is, and how do we develop it. But then again, it go back to saying it all depends what kind of tourism we want for attract. We get rural tourism, heritage tourism, we get mass tourism. And I would tell you, one of the problems then where I see where West Africa they struggle with is because destinations they want to cover all forms of tourism. They want to cover all forms of tourism, and they work so. Examples and where I go give, you see Gambia they don't already know say they are mass tourism, and then they go for. You don't see Gambia they promote themselves for do anything else than can lay down at beach, enjoy yourself, enjoy some of your culture, and that's it. Then get other small forms of tourism, but those are not the main form of tourism wherein they focus their attention, and they focus on, as we call it in Swedish, solo board. For going on our beach no more, the beach and all and the warm sun and all. We see Ghana in return in the past with this. Ghana was struggling with what kind of tourism want for attract, but we see Ghana now they focus more into heritage tourism because of this transatlantic slave trade and the heritage way left their focus on that. But Salon we still confused. We want to promote that form of tourism, or the one they promote ecotourism, we want to promote this, we want to promote that. We need to get with priorities then straight. And I believe say by structuring with self first, we don't able to get into that. By structuring with self first, we don't able to get the right goal where we put all the resources then towards. So I believe say those 2 questions and then connected, and I hope say my answer is enough for you interconnected Sierra Leoneans. You want to hear more about this, keep following this site here, this page here. The last question where somebody asked me, and this is questioned by a very brave Sierra Leonean, and I feel like say this person we need for gear in flowers them, called Ungo Abdul Rahman and Anandez. Sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. All People's Congress, welcome to the show. Welcome. Fanta Kaba, welcome. Rahim Shida Safa, welcome to the show. We talk about world tourism in a salon, how to develop an a salon. So this young man asks a question. He say he gets intention for study tourism. Get intention for gain admin this year for go university, and for me I motivate for take tourism as a career. Very, very interesting and very important. First of all, I would say I study tourism because I love to travel, and I be one for understand why people in the travel and how to get more people in for travel. But one of the motivating factor, and I said that in my post today, I mentioned that in my post, one of the motivating factors for me for study tourism is for help me country service. Now, anything where you go for go study in a university of any sort, any kind of knowledge where you go attain, let it be a service to your country. Let it be a service to your community. Now, if it's not a service to your community, to be honest, it's not going to fulfill you. For me, tourism fulfill me because it was a service back to Salon, and this is what I'm doing in this platform. Oh, all people going Congress, thank you. He said, I'm a tourist business development enthusiast. Thank you. Good. This is not the page way for the follow, and I hope you go able for, deal with we in this conversation as different videos and get forgot, but thank you very much. But like I said, and that's the basic one, forgive you, let your studies be a service back to you community, your country. Now with that being said, I am of the belief, say, we've had the wrong focus when it comes to tourism studies in Sierra Leone. And why I'm saying that is because the focus has been placed too much on hospitality. Hospitality is like, if this is tourism, right? Hospitality is so much at the top. You for don't do so many things on all levels there before you reach at hospitality. Because hospitality is basically management study. Your manage is something, and when you talk about management, now something where they already don't build, you already don't team up, you just take kind of money for can make sure say okay, all the different parts and then they work. And right now, that's not what we need in Sierra Leone. No matter the part of, no matter what disciplinary you want for study, either being tourism, being whatever you want to study. For Salo right now, what we need people and what we need people who go for go learn or study for how for develop, how for create, how for start from scratch, how for build things them. Not to people, not to management studies then we need. You they do management where you already get something built, but we do not have in tourism right now. We do not have anything built, so we do not need. We get for need the tourism management studies then, but it's when we don't look when they talk Swedish now. It's when we don't actually develop with tourism sector. That's when we get for need those management studies. So my advice to you, Adroman, my advice to you is find studies the way they make you study about tourism development. If you want to study tourism development. And there's so much to choose if you get for study tourism development. I personally study attraction development within the areas of cultural heritage and natural environments. That's what I study up to master's level. But you can choose for study in the areas of, let's say, for example, policy. Creating the right policies then, creating the right laws then. You can actually do that within tourism. Policy analysis and policy development of some sort. I don't know if this is available in Sierra Leone, but this is one area where you study tourism in connection to something else. Wait, there's something. Try to help the disorganized MBT. NTB many times, but the major things I want. Oh, my brother, welcome to the club. But like I was saying, the political science in tourism, that is something where you can study how for implement, how for introduce new laws then would they help tourism, how for introduce new policies then would they help tourism. Look the disaster where we get right now at airports. Look the disaster we get right now we tourism sector with this new tourism levy. You as a professional will understand that you can actually come and say no, this is not good because this is not the right policies then for help this sector. We need for rethinker. So this one area of tourism development you can study. You can study tourism development from the perspective of economy. What kind of economy ideas and what kind of economy programs that you need for introduce in the sphere of tourism, in the area of tourism for boost the tourism. How do we boost tourism and development from the perspective of economy? You can study that. You can study tourism from beyond South study, which is developing attraction, understanding what is attraction, understanding how do we develop, how do you design a product around attraction from different areas. You can also study the tourism development from sustainability point of view. How do you best preserve the environment and everything for me will not overuse them in tourism so it will able for be available for the generations to come. So these are some of the examples on how if you go into tourism what you need for study. And like what I said, that's what we need in Salon right now. We not need hotel managers. We not need a guest house all intended. If we get for need, I get for come later on. Right now, we need for lay down the blueprints. We need for see ourselves as engineers them where they can engineer this whole tourism. Would they basically start fix the tourism from scratch. Fix them from scratch and build them up. And forget builders, then we need people with the right knowledge, and I believe so you're on the right path. So I hope you go for tourism development studies if any of such is available in Salone. If you're not available, go to watch this site here, because this is where I go for the put in information and what you need and pointers. Because today all you need university and for me and give you a paper say you don't do so and so cause you by yourself be able for access the information where you need and read about it. Okay, so that's a little bit, that's the questions that we come in where are the answer today. So over to una way there on this site, please, if you want for join me right now. I know Peggy wanted to join me. Peggy, if you're still around, I'll go add. If you're still around, just give me a thumbs up. May I add you, or send something in the chat. If you want to join me right now, send something in the chat and I'll add you and we go actually have this conversation. Send me something. Oh, Calvary Legacy, you're welcome to the show. Sierra Leone has a numerous touristic products, but we must first realize and acknowledge talents like Esther, myself, thank you, and many others within the ministry. Thank you very much, All People's Congress. I want to disagree a little bit. When we talk about touristic, let me like this, you comment first of all. Let's start right there. When we talk about touristic products, it's a product is something that has already been polished, packaged, polished, and gets an intended user. Somebody will get for there at the end of the whole process for user. Salon, I must say, what we have is natural resources. Just like if one can cook cassava, leafy, and bell, whatever, you buy the components, right? You buy everything that you need, the fish, the pepper, the this, the that, the yabas. But that doesn't mean so you get a cooked meal. It just means so you get the resources. Now for cook that meal, you need to go take any kind of riffraff or any kind of bottle person say can cook. You get the right people and for cook. They skilled hands. Somebody will know how to regulate the different taste them. And this is the same thing with tourism. Salon right now we get the resources, but unfortunately we do not have products. The things that what we call products right now, they're resources to some extent. They could be products, but you think you press the wrong. I could actually bring you in right now, Peggy. Should I add you in? Just let me know in the question and the comment section. Let me add you in, because I really want for hearing your thoughts on this rural tourism and village tourism. You brought up something the last time in the comment section about going to some morel, seeing cows and then things in the agritourism. Yeah.